Welcome back to the channel. Let's get right into it. This is, of course, the app.icosa.pro. This is the Icosa project. I still have my 12,164.5 Icosa. I did show another account in a past video, and people were asking me if I sold it all or something, and I have not. I still have it. Still a whale. And I do think worth mentioning, I am no longer a shark by pool ownership, as I just barely dropped down in by that metric, which is totally fine with me, and I'm going to talk about that. So far, I have earned 1,441 Icosa as yield and 487.9 million Hedron. And I will just mention, I posted a video about this the other day, calculating these into dollar value. But right now, this Icosa is worth more. Just the Icosa is worth more than my hex would be if I had held my hex. This is worth over $15,000, I believe. And my hexes would not be worth that. Not to mention that I've received 1,441 Icosa on top of that and 487 million Hedron, which is adding on top. And this has not been very long into the project. My returns just from the Icosa have been pretty impressive for this short period of time, in my opinion. So far, I think getting in early on this project was a really good idea. And in my opinion, just to clarify, this is still very early on the project. It's too early to really say a lot, but I can look at what is as of now and say, this is where I'm at, and I don't regret anything yet. So let's go ahead and look at my Hedron staking. I still have my 9 billion Hedron staked, which forces me to stake for 90 days and has yielded me 611 Icosa. I did go ahead and make a bunch of other accounts and put about 1 billion Hedron in each account and staked it. That kept me under the 30-day, kept me at the 30-day, kept me under 90 days minimum stake length for those, at least now, instead of having my Icosa sit there and getting yield. For what it's worth right now, for 1 billion Hedron, I'm getting a little bit over 2 Icosa a day, or at least that's what I've been seeing happen for those accounts. And I will have the ability, when 30 days comes up, to pull out the yield if I want to and add it to my main account here. If I do that, I will then get my yield bonus of 20%. For being a whale, you're forced to stake for 360 days, but you do get a yield bonus at the same time. So I could use those smaller accounts to accumulate Icosa and put it back in this pool in order to at least get the 20% bonus. And so that's one thing that I have done that I haven't told you guys about. So right now for me, I kind of feel like I've made my main play. I got in on the project early. I gave some hex. I took some risk for that. Right now, I don't regret it. I think it's working well. And now what? So right now, I'm looking forward to November 13th, Sunday, November 13th, where a bunch of the HSIs that were given to this Icosa project in return for Icosa, people are doing what I did, and they're giving up their hex in order for Icosa. A lot of them are staking it, and that is why my pool ownership is going down. It's because more people are putting in Icosa, and my percentage ownership is just going down over time. I actually see that as a good thing because it means the project's being used, and I think it's really important that the HSI buyback is used, because we need, in my opinion, Hedron before Icosa existed had some potential inflation issues. If we just go and look at the Hedron project, we can see the God Whale minted a couple days ago, and on just that day alone, we had 3.5 trillion Hedron minted, when the market cap, when the total supply of Hedron was roughly 100 trillion. that one day alone, we got a pretty impressive and meaningful amount of additional Hedron supply. And we need the system to counteract that, in my opinion. And I see the HSI buyback as a potential answer, one of the main answers to that problem, as when people put their HSIs in here for Icosa, the HSIs come back to the Hedron protocol into the liquidations and are bought with Hedron. They're bid on with Hedron. In the winning bid, all of the Hedron from that bid is burned. It comes back to the pools as Icosa. And as a side note, I think through those weeks beginning on November 13th, there could be some meaningful Icosa coming into these pools. And it's definitely something that I'm thinking through if I want to buy those hex stakes with my Hedron and watch it be burned, or if I want to hold in the pool and get a relatively good Icosa yield in that time. And like I've said, I've been making sure that my minimum stake length days allows me to pull out my Hedron and without a penalty and bid on these HSIs. But at the same time, I still have the ability. It's a little bit different than hex. You can, after the 90 days, you can keep it in there and keep getting yield. There's no penalty for not pulling out. And so I can hold in there, and whenever I see an opportunity, I can then pull it out. And right now, I'm kind of incentivized to hold and stake a lot of my Hedron. Right now, I'm really considering at least that first day holding my Hedron in the staking pool to get a good yield, because there's 2,000 HSIs coming to this liquidation pool, I believe, just on November 13th alone. And I think it could be a lot of Icosa coming back to the pool. And I also feel like people are going to be deciding how much Hedron these HSIs are really worth. And if a bunch of Hedron supply is burned on that first day, people may just empty their accounts. I think that's possible. And by the end of the week, there's still HSIs coming in here. There's still more auctions going on at a relatively meaningful rate. They may go for less Hedron. So I could see the potential advantage of holding your Hedron in these pools. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what the market's going to provide. You know, if it just appears like such a good deal, then I may absolutely take advantage of the first day. But I have the ability to watch that, and really, I don't know that there's going to be a terrible option. But I'm leaning towards holding my Hedron rather than buying. It's going to be hard. I must just say, it's going to be hard to watch the hex that I gave to this HSI buyback be bought by someone else. There's a part of me that really wants to get my original HSIs back, and I have a feeling that I'm not alone, and that people are really going to be wanting to have their Icosa and their hex. And I think that's going to encourage some bids on this auction, but we'll see how that all plays out. I did want to talk really quick to the two things that I'm really looking forward to. And just the fact that right now I feel like I've kind of made my plays, and I've saw a cool new project. At least to me, it seems like a pretty cool project, this Hedron and Icosa project. I've taken advantage of it. I have a video the other day telling why and my thoughts for buying additional Hedron than what I was able to mint. I bought 9 billion extra Hedron. And so I've made some plays like that. But now, right now, for where I'm at, I feel like I've taken that action for the opportunities that appeared to me with the risk reward and the resources that I've had. Now it's kind of I'm kind of in a holding spot. I'm really holding for two things. I've already talked about the big HSI days. That's a big one. I think it's going to be a potential meaningful time that I just want to play that to the best of my ability. And the other one is, I think that there's a chance we have a crypto drop where the crypto value goes down meaningfully. And Richard Hart has been talking about this for a long time. And recently, I think he's been making some really good arguments for why he thinks Bitcoin specifically is going to go down to 11K. He's been saying 11K and pray. And I don't know that that's going to happen, but I think it's something to be ready for if it does, because I think it could be a really opportune time to buy some tokens. And even Richard himself is saying it could be an opportune time to buy Hex. And it's really how I'm looking at it. If we have a big drop, I want to be able to take advantage of it. So I'm kind of holding, have some funds set aside. If we have a drop, I want to take advantage of that. And so I'm really just looking forward to those two things, making sure I'm prepared for if those happen. And I'll just say, yeah, for now, if we never have a dip, we've already had a pretty great drop, and I have accumulated enough that I will be happy myself if we never have a never have a dip, and we just work our way up from here. I will be happy with that. But I think it's it's pretty likely we're going to have a dip, not just for the reasons even that Richard Hart has said, but I think the macro economy as a whole has some uncertainty in it, and there's just a chance that we still have a big catastrophe and some massive fear in the markets, and I think that could also cause crypto to dump. And but like I said, I don't know, and to me, I'm kind of happy either way, but those are really the two things that I'm looking forward to, and I really feel like I've kind of in a good spot. And right now, I feel like it's kind of a holding pattern for me. Next week, I'll be working on one of my rentals. I might show that to you guys. And I'm kind of just, I've made my plays. I've looked at things the best I can. Now it's kind of wait time. And I'll just be focusing on some other things so that they can be done and out of my way, so that when the opportunities come back in crypto, I can be there, give my full focus. And that's really what I'm thinking about. This is how the Icosa project has worked out for me so far, what I'm thinking about, and some things I've done. Anyway, I just wanted to give you guys an update. Thank you for watching. I'll talk to you in the next one.